On today's Hashi, I'm discussing lessons from the travel industry, sellers losing their advantage, renting versus buying, and weekly unemployment. Today is Thursday, August 15th, 2024. I am Byron Lazine, and the Hashi starts now. Welcome into today's Hashi. Let me know in the live chat which market you are tuning in from. Of course, this is the only live housing show on the internet each and every single Monday through Thursday. It's the only one that exists. So hit the thumbs up for that. And if you get extreme value out of this show, please consider subscribing to the @NowBam YouTube channel. Replays are always can be found on Spotify or Apple, wherever you listen to your audio podcasts. Okay, we've got a whole bunch here. I actually posted an article on nowbam.com this morning. I think this is a timely article. I've been saving this one, looking at the comparisons between the real estate industry and the travel industry. Obviously, real estate agents, this one I think you'll find super interesting. I also think consumers will find this very interesting. Many consumers might have been misled with what's happened with the travel industry. I think even real estate agents have been misled. Okay, we're also going to talk on this Zillow report that sellers are starting to lose their advantage. We've been living in a seller's market for quite some time now. Is that going to flip? And we're going to start talking about a buyer's market, completely different. If you got into real estate the last 2 or 3 years, then a buyer's market might be completely foreign, or it certainly would be completely foreign to you, depending on what market you're in. You know, there might be a few markets across the country where it's flipped into buyer market the last 12 months. Where I started, when I started in real estate, buyer market was the only thing I knew for years. Okay. Everything after the 2008 financial collapse was a buyer's market for years to come. In the Northeast, in fact, it was a buyer's market longer than almost anywhere else in the country, specifically where I started in Connecticut. That was certainly the case. Realtor.com also has a rental report. We want to keep our eye on that as we look at what's going to happen with inflation. We'll update that as well as this recent unemployment report. All right, first, let's take a look at this article that I posted today on nowbam.com. This is an article that covers what's going on with travel agents. I don't know, just quickly here, everyone that we've got in the live chat, I'd like you to say what your belief is on the travel agent industry. Do you believe travel agents still exist today? Put a Y in the live chat, or put an N if you don't believe that travel agents exist in the market today across the country. I'm just curious where you stand on that. Y if you believe travel agents exist, and if you believe that travel agents don't exist. Okay, this article that I posted on nowbam.com today, apologies there. First, I cover this Fortune headline. Okay, real estate agents are going extinct, just like travel agents did. This is what an award-winning professor told Fortune. Says you just don't need them anymore because of the internet. Okay, the first thing is just because you're an award-winning professor doesn't mean that you're actually smart. Doesn't mean you know what you're talking about if you don't do the research. We did the research. We actually took a look at this. And there are over 70,000 travel agents here today. Okay. There's about 74,000 travel agents. The Labor Department, Bureau of Labor Statistics, the travel agent growth is projected to be 3% from 2022 to 2023, and then another 3% from 23 to 24. There's actually 8,600 travel agent openings year over year over the next decade. Okay. So yeah, portals are for travel. They're very, they're very useful. They're very reliable. If you were going to take a flight right now, if you were just planning a round trip or one-stop flight here within the States, maybe you're going to travel to Las Vegas for BAM Mania on October 17th, 18th. I don't know, just as an example, you could go to BAM Mania if you haven't booked that travel yet. But if you were going to do that, travel to Las Vegas, you're not going to need a travel agent. Just like if a consumer was renting a room from a buddy and their handshake lease came up, at the end of the year, they're going to renegotiate verbally with their buddy. They're not going to need an agent. If I was going to buy crypto, I'm not calling my financial planner. I'm opening one of these silly crypto apps and dumping money in like it's a slot machine. Okay, there's certain things that we don't contract a professional for in every area that we already contract professionals in. Okay, if you're buying a house, renting a room from a friend, those are two totally different things. Owning a home helps people become wealthier than renters, 75 times wealthier than the average renter, generational wealth. Okay. Having a financial planner helps people go from kind of guessing how much money they need for retirement to knowing how much money they need for retirement. Contracting the services of a financial planner allows you to actually retire, allows you to not get to the end of the road and live in regret. Oh, I wish I would have saved. I wish I would have invested better. A financial planner puts you on path to actually execute on that plan and have enough money at the end to live. Why are there over 70,000 travel agents? Because some people actually plan extravagant trips. It doesn't even actually have to be that extravagant. I've got a friend right now who's using a travel agent to go to Disney. Okay. Well, why is she using a travel agent to go to Disney? She lives in Massachusetts. She's got 2 young kids. I can help. I've been to Disney a few times. I can drive there from Florida, from Naples, Florida. But this is a bigger trip than driving up for 2 days for her. This is a trip where she's bringing her parents, she's bringing her brother, bringing her children, and she wants it to be right. Children are young. She doesn't want to just go and spend 48 hours there, hope to see a sneak peek of Mickey, and then get back on the plane to Massachusetts. Okay. Tickets for a plane ride from Massachusetts to Orlando for a family of 4 plus parents plus brother plus all that, they're expensive. Okay. You don't want to screw that up. Also, how about the hotel? What's the right hotel to stay at? How do you get from the hotel to the parks? Am I buying the right tickets at the park? Has anybody done the hopper thing? Do I actually get to cut the line? How do I guarantee that I get a picture with my kid and some of the characters? Okay, what are the good restaurants? A lot of restaurants. Okay, should I have a hotel that's got the monorail into the park? If I stay on resort or if I stay off of resort, do I lack amenities? Okay. I apologize for that. I've never heard this phone ring. I've got 2 phones. I've never heard this phone ring. And there you go. It's ringing on the hot sheet. Total amateur style. But if somebody's going to plan a once in a lifetime trip, they can't just drive to Disney. This is going to be a memory that they hope their kids have for years to come, and they're going to spend time with their family. They want to make sure somebody who's gone through all the intricacies is there to help them to get it right. If you were going to maybe take a trip to Japan or to, I don't know, if you were going to go and travel all around Asia, okay, and you wanted to make sure that you did it right. Maybe it's a trip through Europe where you got to fly from country to country and get into different countries and navigate all of these historical landmarks that you want to see. And you've got to do it on a timeline. You've got to do it on a budget, but you still want it to be amazing. You want to have this great experience. And you've been saving for 5 years for this trip. Are you going to wing it or are you going to look for professional advice? That's why travel agents still exist today. I go on and I encourage you guys, go to nowbam.com and read this story. There's actually a source, the American Genius ran an article back in December 2008. Realtors should be more like travel agents. Not what Fortune says. Realtors are going extinct like travel agents. It's realtors should actually be more like travel agent. They highlighted a luxury travel agent, Sarah Ryan Duffy, who has thrived despite the rise of online booking sites. Her secret is putting service above everything else. Okay, so with everything that's going to take place on your MLS tomorrow, maybe it already has on your MLS, remember, no matter what they do to you, no matter how they try to pull transparency out of your world, instead of what they, all these bureaucracies and consumer agency departments say, that they want more for consumers by pulling transparency out, really, no matter what they do to you, to the industry, or even to your consumer, remember that service is above everything else. Those of us that provide this high level of service will always have a place in the industry. Her company, SDR International, is built on outstanding customer service. She's mastered the art of leveraging the limitations of online resources. Okay. Again, I go through some of those examples. If you just haven't been to some of these places in the world and you've saved up for 5 years and you want to do it right, there are going to be limitations online. Okay. Would you pay somebody, if you were going to take a 3-4 week trip around Europe, who's been to all of those locations, done all those little puddle jumper flights that you go from country to country, has jumped on the different boats, has stayed in the resorts, has dined at the restaurants, has figured out what the best time of day to stop at certain, tourist landmarks is? Would you go that direction, or would you wing the whole thing and miss out on maybe 70% of the experience that you could? Right? Christoph says some people just don't want to spend 10 hours researching a trip. Okay, this is what Michael Ketchmark and this smart professor who was an award-winning professor. Just because you are a professor at a college doesn't mean you're smart. Just because you say things to mainstream media doesn't mean that they are true. Real estate agents are going extinct, just like travel agents did. Award-winning professor. You just don't need them anymore because of the internet. Okay, well, yeah, you don't need a travel agent because of the internet. To Christoph's point, you could spend 10 plus hours. His point is people don't want to do that. That's my point as well. People don't want to spend 10 plus hours researching. And I would argue, if you're going to go, I've been to the Virgin Islands now every year for many years besides the hurricane year. Okay. I don't know, going back to 8 years ago, 9 years, whatever the case may be. I go to the Virgin Islands every year. I know exactly where I'm staying. I stay in the same place. I stay on St. John. I love it. I know my favorite restaurants. I already know the different boating companies I use to charter boats. I know everything that's available downtown. In fact, I know the new restaurants, the ones that have been there forever, the new locations, the old locations, the history. I've been there. I've done it. Even when I plan my trip in November this year, I'll probably spend close to 10 hours planning it all out. And I've done it before a number of times. Why? Because there's a few new things I probably want to try. I want to make sure I'm very travel agent like when it comes to vacationing. I've got everything down to the hour of what I want to do. Where do I want to be at the restaurant? Where do I want to sit? What time do I want to arrive there? Where do I want to have maybe a pre-cocktail? I'm not encouraging cocktails, but on vacation, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to spend a lot of hours planning on this one, and I've been there numerous times. If I was going to Europe, you know how long it would take me? It would take a month out of my life to go to Europe for 3 weeks, because I'd be researching everything. I'd be talking to people. I'd be having to do all this research. I don't have a month of my life to go and become the expert in that field. Of course, people want to contract that service out, just like people don't want a part-time job when they're going to sell their biggest financial asset or when they're going to purchase their first ever home. They want somebody by their side to go take on that work. Somebody who's done it numerous times, who knows the vendors, knows the players, can put them together, can make the negotiation seamless, can provide that, like Duffy says here in this piece, that ridiculously high level of service. If you get one shot at retirement, you want to do it all on your own? I don't. I have an app on my phone for fun money. I have a Fidelity app. I buy Zillow. I sell it when it's high. Sometimes I buy some stocks and they go low. Okay. And then I got to wait it out. It's all my fun money. It's my Fidelity app. I like it when I win on there. Notice I say win. Stock market's a gamble unless you know what you're doing, unless you know how to protect everything, know when to be aggressive, know when to lean off. I also have a financial advisor. I also have a financial professional who's preparing me for having some money down the road, having a safety net. I don't really think I want to retire, but I want to have money at the end to make my life easier. I want to make sure my family's okay if something were to happen to me. Yeah, I have a professional for that. When I buy crypto, I do it on my phone, and I know that money could disappear overnight. It's the same thing as opening the DraftKings app, to me anyway. But when I actually want to make sure it's a guarantee, when I can't screw it up, when I only get one shot at it, I use a financial planner. Okay. 1990, what were they saying about about travel agents? They're all going away. The internet is ruining them. Didn't happen, guys. Over 70,000 travel agents. So I'm bringing this up today. I launched the article. Haley, make sure we link the article too. Put the article into the live chat. Put it into the replay. I wanted to share the article today because I know so much is changing and we're entering the messy middle. Okay. The internet didn't destroy travel agents. Travel agents still exist. There's some like Duffy here who have a thriving business. In fact, the article from 2008, back in December 2008, agents should be more like travel agents. There's a lot of it that I agree with, talking about the service and what creates a successful travel agent. What so many of you are, successful real estate professionals who provide high levels of service. Those people are not going away, and they never are. Okay. In 2006, Zillow launched Zillow.com. And real estate agents were supposed to go away then. Even though Michael Ketchmark, when he did a victory dance on the NAR settlement, said, finally, the internet can take over for what real estate agents did. The internet's been here, bro. Zillow launched in 2006. They've accomplished way more in this industry than any attorney has ever accomplished, even with a historic lawsuit. Zillow's done way more in the first decade of their existence. And what do? They partner with real estate agents. They know because they listen to the consumer. What does Zillow always say? Closest to the customer wins. And they listen to their customer. They listen to the consumer. And the customer is always overwhelmingly told Zillow that they want the services of an agent. So as you enter the messy middle, and I know I spent a little bit of time here, and I apologize if you listen to the hot sheet and you're not a real estate agent, but hey, if you're in housing, this impacts you too. Okay. I spent a little bit of extra time here at the opening here of this hot sheet to just walk through that. You're entering the messy middle, August 17th, Saturday. Most MLSs are changing tomorrow if they haven't already. There's going to be a period of time here where it just gets messy, but it'll be okay on the other end. And those agents that offer a really high level of service, all the agents of change right here are going to be just fine as well. Okay, going over to, speaking of Zillow, let's go over to a recent press release from them. This press release comes out today, in fact. And Zillow's claiming that sellers are now losing their advantage. So are we actually entering a buyer's market? Okay, Zillow's market heat index shows the market moved into neutral, a more balanced territory in July. The first time this year that it's been anything other than a seller's market. First time in, I would say, years, if that is the case. Competition for homes ease. Homes that sold when pending in 18 days, 6 more than last year. An early August drop in mortgage rates should bring more new buyers than sellers, reviving competition, is Zillow's belief. Chief economist Skylar Olson said, if this relief from mortgage rates continues, we should see more buyers restarting their hunt for a home. Okay. But although rate lock among homeowners is easing, they probably won't be as motivated to jump back into the market and sell. With housing inventory still scarce, this improved affordability picture could reignite competition and sales as we head into the fall, or at least delay the usual post-summer cool down. Talking about that, yeah, I believe there could be a delay in the seasonality to the market where you typically see a decline in transactions in both pendings and closings as we go through the year. If that rate gets low enough, that decline is going to get pushed out a little bit further. That's why I disagreed with the CEO of Redfin, Glenn Kelman. Buyers are on the sidelines not because of rates, but because of the election. No, I think sellers make decisions around the election, when to list, when not to list. I think buyers are making decisions based on affordability. If that rate gets low enough and I've been looking long enough and I have a desire to move, I'm probably going to make that decision. Okay. Here's some more information. I'll go to, let me go to the hot sheet show notes. Hot sheet show notes, by the way, if you're unfamiliar with the hot sheet show notes, well, you couldn't see them there because the screen just went black. I gotta get that fixed. I don't know what is, it's got to be the cord. It's got to be the cord here in the new studio. Anyways, hot sheet show notes. Can't see them, but all of our BAMX members see them every single day. They're available inside of BAMX. Use code HOT to get 10% off of BAMX. Okay. Looking more at this neutral market that Zillow is talking about, inventory levels in July were nearly 25%. There you go. Haley's bailing me out. Nearly 25% higher than last year, making the 8th consecutive month year-over-year inventory growth. The inventory shortfall shrank to 31.5%, smallest deficit since October 2020. That's compared to pandemic norms. Homes have taken almost, again, a week longer to sell in July than the previous year. Over 26% of homes on Zillow received a price cut in July. So all these signals that we're starting to move back towards a neutral or balanced market. Of course, if we just base it off of months of inventory, which is typically how we look at that, 6 months of inventory would be a neutral market. We're still just over 4 months right now, according to the last NAR report. So you would still consider overall across the country that this is a seller's market. Now, there's going to be parts like Southwest Florida or certain parts of Texas where you're going to say, oh, it's a buyer's market, and it's been a buyer's market because not only do we have higher levels of inventory than pre-pandemic, we have higher levels of inventory in more than 5+ in Southwest Florida in 7 years, or Florida overall is higher levels of inventory going back 7 years. Okay. So seller dynamics, they lost their advantage with major markets like Denver, Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, and Louisville moving into neutral territory now, according to Zillow. Okay. Let's take a look at some of these other markets, according to Zillow, that are in neutral. Okay. United States, they consider in neutral. New York, strong seller. You've got low inventory. LA is a seller market. Chicago's a seller market. You've got low inventory there as well. Dallas and Houston are neutral. So buyers and sellers do not have control, according to Zillow. That's a neutral market. DC, strong seller. Philadelphia, seller. Miami, buyer market. Okay. So Miami's gone and Florida, for the most part, has gone the total opposite direction here. From what we've known the last 4 or 5 years, they've gone into now a buyer's market. Atlanta is neutral. Boston, where you have low inventory, strong seller. Phoenix is neutral. San Francisco is a strong seller. Let's look and see if we got other buyers. Tampa, buyer market. Orlando, buyer market. So these Florida markets have now all flipped to buyer market because of the highest inventory in 7 years. Okay, not just pre-pandemic, but 7 years. Austin, Texas, buyer. I think Jeremy Knight shared, hey, there's been buyer market in Austin for about a year. A lot of inventory there. Indianapolis is neutral. Nashville is neutral. You've got Jacksonville, Florida buyer. Look at Florida just dominating the list when it comes to buyer market flip. Memphis, Tennessee, though, now also buyer market. New Orleans, buyer market. It's been that way for a bit. Birmingham, Alabama, neutral. Okay, so listen, it's really coming down. Hartford, Connecticut, of course, strong seller. Still, Connecticut has got the worst case of lack of inventory across the country. And so it's really going to come down to what do those micro markets look like? Okay. How do you talk to a seller or a buyer about what's going on in the macro and relate it to their micro situation. Okay, what happened? What's happened in Florida could happen in other parts of the country. Okay, just because the Northeast predominantly right now is a seller's market doesn't mean it couldn't be neutral by next spring. Doesn't mean it couldn't be neutral by this winter. Depends on inventory, depends on a lot of the factors that we've observed across the country. Are they going to take place in some of those other markets? History tells us that they will. Okay, it's just a matter of time. We've been waiting for time to tick away for quite some time here on owner's equivalent rent, especially which we covered yesterday in the CPI as it comes to inflation. Okay, these updated rental reports that we look at every single month, I don't think that the Fed is looking at them. We have a new report to look at from Realtor.com. It's the July 2024 rental report. And they state that renting a starter home continues to be a more affordable option than buying one in all 50 metros. Okay, so their rental report looking at renting versus buying, renting is the more affordable option. That's been the case now for quite some time. That's why you continue to see many people put off their home buying journey and going ahead and renting. July 24th marks the 12th year-over-year rent decline in a row for 0 to 2 bedroom properties. Okay, well, interesting. If rent is continuing to decline, why does the CPI keep saying that shelter is holding us back on inflation? Well, it's because they have a 2-year lagging data point. We've been observing this for a year, okay, that rents have been declining. Rents decline again is the headline. Again, they've been declining. Okay, this isn't something new to those of us that look at real-time data. Unfortunately, the Fed doesn't do that. Their data is 2 years lagging. They also look at owner's equivalent rent, which we covered yesterday, which is a made-up phony number. The facts are rents continue to decline, and as that catches up with inflation, you will see inflation drop from the 2.9 level that it's at now down to 2 or maybe even lower very quickly. That's why many believe that the Fed should react in September and cut that rate so that they don't get caught behind the real inflation deceleration, like they got caught behind when inflation was going up and the government was spending $2.3 billion that they probably shouldn't have borrowed. So there you go. Median rent versus median rent year over year. Median rent year over year has been on a decline now for over a year. That number still is just 0.7 below the 2022 peak. Okay, so sitting here just below 0% on the increases still means, hey, those gains that were seen in 2021 haven't completely obviously washed away. Rents do typically always go up. They're just not going up right now. All units saw waning rent decline. So studio, 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom, all on declines, not particular to one subset of the market. It is across the board. Here are your national rents by size. 1,741 for the overall rent. Studios coming in at 1,460. The 1 bedroom's coming in at 1,615, and the 2 bedroom under 2,000 at 1,933. The biggest drop is the 1 bedroom down year over year, 1.4%. Obviously, over the last 5 years, all of these up in double digits. 15% for studio, 21.7% for 2 bedroom being the highest there. Okay. There's your rental update. Again, once again, rents are on the decline, not on the increase. Somebody tell Jerome Powell. Okay. Just speaking of Jerome Powell, what they're going to do on the Fed before we get to unemployment. Take a look at this. Talked about this yesterday. Now a 74% chance. There's a 100% chance that they're going to cut the rate in September. But now we've seen it shift over to a 74% chance that that's only going to be a quarter point. Okay, so after a day of digesting yesterday's CPI, and then also with today's news here on the unemployment report that just came out this morning, CME Group is saying it's probably only going to be a quarter point. Well, there was some belief that it would have been a half point. That's not the case. Only 25% chance it's a half point. Initial claims here this week for the week ending August 10th on unemployment come in at 227,000. It's a decrease of 7,000 from the previous revised week level. The previous week's level was revised up by 1,000 from 233 to 234K. 4-week moving average comes in at 236.5. So This last week below the 4-week moving average. What does that mean? It means that unemployment is, now over 4%. Yes, but not getting, out of control. So there's some stabilization here on the weekly metric on unemployment. Of course, this is the initial number. These numbers can get revised as they often do. But it looks like what appeared a couple of weeks ago to be rising unemployment has, stabilized here in the last week. Obviously, for the rates to come down rapidly or for a rate cut to happen, even sooner than a meeting or things like that, there has to be job loss that supports that because they have a dual mandate: maximum employment and 2% inflation. If employment is doing good, they're less motivated to cut that rate. Okay. And so this is why you see the CME group go from 50-50 chance of a half point to a quarter point to now 75% chance that they're saying, it's going to be probably just a quarter point. This week's numbers on unemployment look good. A lot can happen between now and next month. We're about 32 days away from the Fed meeting. So a lot can happen and we'll see what happens. What's happening right now in the moment is the 10-year is ticking up off of this news, 3.946 on the 10-year as we enter this Thursday. Yesterday, the 30-year came in at 6.49. 10-year sticks where it is. Probably expect that to get back up over 6.5. Okay. There's your hot sheet today. Love for you, if you're a real estate agent, share that article posted in Now Bam with another agent who's just kind of maybe living in a place right now where, like, I don't know what's going to happen the next couple of days. Oh my gosh, the whole world's flipping. You're going to be fine. Agents of change, you're all going to be fine, that are providing high levels of service. Share that article on nowbam.com with someone who should read it, somebody in the industry. We're entering the messy middle. It is what it is. You'll get through it and you will be there in the end, helping customers, helping consumers, helping your clients, just as you always have been. Agents of change are joining us each and every single day, booking their tickets at BAM Mania. Not using a travel agent, most of them, because it is just in Las Vegas at the brand new Circa Las Vegas. We've done all the planning for you to make sure that this is, and we did all the planning and listing a professional event company who does events for the UFC and other very well-known brands. Okay. So we didn't go ahead and try to plan an event on our own because it's not what we do every single day. All right. See the analogy there? People use professionals all the time. Love to see you as an agent of change at BAM Mania. Join the room, join the conversation. It's not just about who you're going to hear from on the stage, but it's also about who you're going to meet. Other agents of change that are pushing their service to a higher level. VIP tickets for October 17th, it included the 17th and the 18th, are going to be the first to sell out. Those are available on bammania.com, as well as general admission tickets. bammania.com. All the BAMX members get 25% off of the lowest price. BAMX members, if you don't know where to find your discount for BAM Mania tickets, you can email Jill, Jill, at nowbam.com and just put in the subject, need my BAMX member here, need my discount for BAM Mania. She will take care of you on that. Hope to see you guys there. Hope everybody has a great finish to the week. We've got a walkthrough pod later on today here on the main channel. We also have a Knowledge Brokers pod over on Knowledge Brokers podcast channel going up tomorrow. We'll record that tomorrow morning and cover everything from this week. And as we enter August 17th as a real estate industry, of course, if you got value out of this, please subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, toodaloo.